Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Bingetown TV. I'm Paul, and here with me today are Luke and Jimmy. Today we're talking about The Witcher Season 2, Episode 5 and 6, titled Turn Your Back and Dear Friend. We will be recording a discussion about these two episodes, even though they will be released individually, but keep your eye out for Episode 6 because it will be right after this. Two great episodes. Excited to hear you guys' thoughts. First of all, Jimmy, welcome to The Witcher coverage. I guess you can be considered the rookie for this coverage.
Definitely a rookie.
Definitely brand clean new slate, Witcher slate. So what are your thoughts on episodes 1 through 6 so far?
I'm really enjoying it. I didn't get a chance to listen to your guys' podcast, but I'm sure that you guys said that with Wheel of Time and The Witcher, we're just living the dream in the fantasy world right now.
Fuck yeah.
Definitely a rookie here. I read a little bit of The Witcher, so it was funny that I knew what was going on in episode 1 of season 2 because of that. Obviously, there was a couple changes from the book to the screen, but yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm going to need a little bit of help from you guys. Just it is a little confusing to me with some of the names. They're throwing a lot of stuff at us at once, but I'm really loving it so far.
Yeah. And I want to reemphasize again, we may not on purpose be referencing things that happened in episode 6 because we are covering these two together, like Paul said. So I would avoid listening to this podcast until you have seen 6. I don't know, whatever's best. We might be slipping in a couple episode 6 spoilers here because it kind of flows together since we just binged them. But yeah. I do want to say, though, I wasn't on last episode when you guys covered 3 and 4, the recording. I love those episodes. I wish I could retroactively go back and change my ratings for episode 1 and 2 to make more room for growth, because I think 3, 4, 5, and 6 have just been elevating this show so much. I'm thinking season 2 is already, in my opinion, better than season 1. I don't know if that's controversial. Basically, the pulse I have from social media and Reddit and all that stuff is that a lot of people are pretty in for season 2. Like, of course, there's an insane amount of changes from the books to the point where I don't even think they should be considered the same source material. Like they're not the same source material. It's just the use of the world and some of the characters. Everything else is completely different, and we'll see how this season ends. But honestly, I'm liking the show take on this world and characters more than I liked the 7 books that I read. And that can change as we go on if writing gets sloppy. But there's just so much to love here. And the way that Netflix is doing it is just so visually appealing. And I like the character changes that they're making and the plot. And what they're emphasizing in the plots with like all the monoliths and stuff like that. And the conjunction of spheres. I just talked a lot there, but I've just been raving about this in my head. I can't wait to freaking dive into 5, 6 and watch 7, 8 after this.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch 7 and 8 right after. But to both of you guys, Luke and Paul, are you both fully caught up? Like you've read everything for The Witcher?
There is one book called Season of Storms, I believe.
Season of Swords?
No, it's either Song of Storms or Season of Storms.
Well, that's a Storm of Swords is Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Book 3.
Yeah, which is one of the best books ever written.
Yeah, it's such a great book.
This book wasn't technically like in linear storyline. It was kind of, I don't want to say not canon because it was canon, but it didn't really take place in the Geralt series storyline, I believe.
It was a super self-contained story. Basically, like you've read a couple of the prequel chapters. It was like that, except expanded to a book about him finding his swords. Something like that.
Okay. So my question for you guys is, talking to you about season 1, it was pretty much told to me that it was like a prequel almost, like based on what the books have given us. To me, now that I know that, it feels like we're just scratching the surface, and it could go like 10 seasons or something. Is that like fair? Like, is this really like, are you guys seeing it that way too with Ciri? Like it just seems like everything is just very, very early on.
I'll answer first, and then Paul, you correct me, because it seems like I think you're a little bit more in tune with the book knowledge than I am. I think that the way that things are moving is definitely fast. A lot of stuff is happening quickly, but I don't think it'll be 8 seasons. I'm thinking closer to 5 would be the sweet spot for me. Maybe even 4 based on what I'm hearing about the ending reveal in episode 8, which won't talk about now, but we'll talk about that next podcast. So there's still so much to happen, and it depends how much they really want to adapt. but I think we're already hitting stuff that are in book 3 or 2 or 3.
Mhm.
Like we've said the name of book 2, which is Time of Contempt, in episode 5 or 6. They say
Right.
that. So we're
Yep.
pretty much already like hitting towards the end of that. So we're already kind of, we're moving. We're definitely moving.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting because, like Luke said, they are dropping a lot of reveals that you don't get until later in the books. At the same time, they're also just kind of making up whatever they want. So it's you can't even like track it on the books because they're kind of doing their own thing. So I could see it going, 5 seasons. I could see it going 10 if they just continue to make their own things. If they were to just make seasons about the books, yeah, I mean, I could see it going for 6 or something like that, 6 or 7. But it is really its own animal at this point.
Yeah,
Now,
I mean,
I fucking love it.
Yeah, that question was mainly in my head after watching episodes 1 and 2, just because it seems so early in series journey. But they really have jumped a good amount in the last 4 or so episodes since we haven't seen 7 or 8, but up to episode 6, it really does seem like it has jumped.
Well, in saying that, I don't think we talked about it, but did you guys see that Witcher is getting another spinoff called The Witcher Blood Origin?
See the trailer? It was a teaser trailer. Yeah, it looked cool.
Wait, is it Henry or is it animated?
No, it's a prequel.
It's a prequel. It's about I believe it's about the first Witchers.
Oh, nice.
It's a very short teaser, but it was cool.
Yeah, they actually have it at the end of episode 8, so that's why I knew you guys didn't see it yet. But that being said, they're making up their own stories and doing that over there. So I don't know how much effort they're going to put into that compared to, this series. I don't know if they're going to have multiple spinoffs of their own. Like Siri could, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, anything's on the table is what I mean.
I've heard a lot of rumors just with them saying Witcherverse. It could be a million things. They could have a million shows if they want. It could be like the freaking Walking Dead universe where they're just like, we're going to start making all these spin-off shows, which better not be like that. But as long as they're good, I'm in.
They stole the Walking Dead universe, stole Lexa from the 100. So fuck them.
Right. I know.
All right. So let's get into episode 5. We are going to cover this episode in character buckets. And the first one we're going to start off with is Yen and Jaskier and a little bit of Rience. So just to get introduced to this new character, that is the opening scene of episode 5. It is Rience in a dungeon, and this woman is coming down to talk to him. And this is obviously like super shitty dungeon. You see like the rats running around and everything. And Jimmy, I just want to what was your reaction? I want to know your reaction to seeing this guy and who you thought he was initially.
I thought it was just so cool. I knew it just was like the snaps just over and over with him just snapping in the background. And it's like the in the shadows and dark. And you could tell that this person was going to be somebody like badass and important. And he's obviously, before she even says it, you could tell that he's been sitting there in solitude for a long time, and he's just sitting there with the snap. It was just very, very cool with the visuals and just hearing with the audio, the snapping in the background. I didn't really have too much of a theory of who he was going to be, but as soon as they show him, I'm like, all right, this guy's going to be a badass.
Dude, I have been waiting for Rience to pop up. He is not like a super complex character. Like he's pretty surface level. You get what you see, but this is almost the best version of what I imagined in my head for the book of the character so far. Pretty much spot on to like how he gets the burns and like the way he acts and like his goals. So far, so good. I think Rience is it's pretty fantastic.
So when it comes to Rience, he is the firefucker. Okay. Like he's the guy who's using the fire power. And he explains a little bit later, how it works, and you guys can get into that if you want to. But just my quick question is though that could be something that Yen could do if she wanted. Like obviously her big thing inside in the battle was that she used the fire, and you're not supposed to, and it drained her chaos as far as we know right now. Now Rience said that when you're using the fire, if you're strong enough, you can control it, but it eats away at your soul or something like that, he said. So, I mean, I feel like the two of them, if they do get to have more of a confrontation, would be pretty damn interesting.
Yeah, you're asking dangerous questions because we have like the magic system is so crazy in the show. It's so its own animal, like we were saying. And yeah, that honestly confuses me just to get into Rience. He uses fire magic, but I don't understand why they would make him use fire magic when they make it such a taboo. I understand that because it's consuming his whole, it's making him, a little crazy, maybe a little sane. But I didn't understand how he said you can draw chaos from fire. I was confused. I was like, well, why do you draw chaos from fire to make fire? So it confuses me.
My two absolute, nothing even comes close to these two factors in the Netflix show least favorite things about the Netflix Witcher are first, like how they treat every Witcher that's not Geralt or Vesemir. And Kyle, you and Paul, you and Kyle did a good job of kind of shitting on that a little bit in 3 and 4, rightfully so. Eskel sucked, Lambert trash. Like all of that is just, I don't know who greenlit that stuff. Take that aside. My second least favorite thing, or tied with that, is totally whatever they're doing with this fire magic, because I thought it was fine with what they had Yennefer do. She touched the fire magic, she loses her powers. That's fine. That's what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Now they're adding in this little, like, basically, if you're like kind of in touch with your darkness and you don't care about your soul, you can use the fire. It's stupid. I don't like it at all because it seems like it's his whole thing. Like he only uses fire. Yeah. I don't like that at all.
And it also kind of, I don't want anybody to be telling me, like, unless I'm misquoting him, I thought he said something about, like, if you're strong enough as, like, the first part of a sentence. And don't tell me Yen's not strong enough.
Exactly. She's, I don't like that.
Also, when it comes to Rience, man, totally Colonel Mustang for Full Metal Alchemist. I kept getting those vibes, like, with him snapping his fingers with the gloves, man. Holy shit. I got those vibes right away.
That's awesome. I didn't even think about that.
Neither did I.
Luke, when you're talking about, like, the Witchers other than Geralt, are you saying, like, because they're not getting any respect, like they're not, like, the show's not giving them any respect or character? What did you mean?
In my head, all of the Witchers are basically like Geralt. They're not like these fucking just like they're assholes to people. Yeah, like they're
right.
They're supposed to be like Geralt and Vesemir, like just solemn, very rarely show emotions. They're not gonna fuck with Ciri. Like, why would you? Yeah, I don't like any of that.
Okay. They take Ciri in as like one of their own, and like they train her and all this other stuff. They care about her, but in the show, they make all the Witchers kind of like shit on them. And I don't know if it's to like isolate them from different humans, like because they don't have feelings or something like that. But I mean, Triss basically talked about it and was like, dude, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. You guys are being assholes to this girl.
I'll stop talking about the last recording just because it's fresh in my mind. But the last thing I'll say is that I totally agree with what you were saying in episode 3, Paul, that I hated the conversation that Lambert had with Geralt about killing Eskel. And when he's like blaming him, like, you're the one that killed our brother. Like, what the fuck? Like, dude, that was just poor writing. And
if anything, a Witcher should understand how that shit works.
Yeah.
And I pretty much took it like they're writing them as like just basic mercenaries that you see in like Game of Thrones or something, where they're like, give us our alcohol, let's get hammered, we're mean to everyone, and we just want to fight, which obviously is not what they should be based on what we know about Geralt and Witchers.
So to continue with this Rience storyline, he learns that this woman that came down to talk to him, Lydia, isn't actually working for Nilfgaard. He also learns Calanthe is dead. The whole reason he was in there, he crossed her a while back, it seems. So now he is hired by this woman he doesn't know who she is employed by, but his goal is to find this girl who was last seen on the outskirts of Sodden. So we go from there, cut back to episode 5 of our boy Jaskier just singing. Phenomenal. I was so happy. We get Jaskier again because why not? He's the absolute man. Yep. I love the song so much. I was playing it earlier today. But
dude, how did they follow up Toss a Coin with The Witcher? This is such a freaking jam, and they play it twice. Jaskier's every time he's on the screen, it's just a smiles on my face.
I know. It's the best. And I asked Kyle, I said, hey, I'll ask you guys too. Which song do you like better? And Kyle said Toss a Coin. But I was like, yeah, Toss a Coin because it's iconic. But it was a close one.
Super close.
Yeah, it's very close. I still go Toss a Coin, but I feel like I can sing it more and it's just more catchy to me, but I like both of them.
Dude, I love his hair too. I didn't get to
Oh
say
yeah.
this because
It
this is
is.
my first pod
Yeah.
with him being a character again. And he's just Jim, if you didn't know, he's like one of the weird characters that they changed his name for some reason.
Mm.
It's Dandelion in the books, Dandelion
Oh, I
sometimes.
did know that. Yeah,
Yeah. So sometimes I mix them up, but just like Yasker, the actor, amazing.
Kyle was talking shit on his hair last episode.
Oh,
So
Kyle.
Kyle usually likes long hair on men, dude.
yeah, he said he wasn't feeling it.
Mm.
But I actually did, after seeing this, I went back to episode 5 and rewatched that scene to see if Rience was there. And at the end of the performance, it does pan to the crowd clapping. And then there's this one dude in Rience's jacket, just kind of like staring at the ground, not clapping, and his hair's covering his face. And I was like, that's awesome.
Nice.
Like they do put it in there just in case.
Like a little pat on Fane.
Yeah, before the reveal. Exactly.
Yeah.
So he ends up being the one that takes Yaskir. And Yen, she is not on the boat anymore. She got off, and it says, it's leaving the port. Yen's like, fuck. She drops another F-bomb. I forgot. I need to keep the Yen F-bomb count going because it is like 25 at this point.
Way more than Geralt this season.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
she's so good at her delivery of it. It just sounds good coming out of her mouth. And they knew that.
Yeah.
We also see that old elf being strung up again. It's like,
yeah.
oh, you got to show us that. But it was cool because it is very reminiscent of the books. Like Geralt will just come into a town and they'll just have a dead body hanging from like the trees right at the front gates and shit like that. It's just the world that they live in. It's brutal. But we also get Yaskir. We find him tied up in the chair, and this classic Yaskir just talk. He's in this dark room. And he's like, "Hey, if it was your wife, your mistress, I'm sorry, man. Like,
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me. You got the wrong guy. You're a crazy fan. Like, I don't talk about my work." And then he gets introduced to Rience and his fire snaps.
Yeah,
which I don't know how I didn't think of Mustang.
I couldn't.
Yeah, totally
I can't even
Mustang.
write down all of the quotes that Yasker says that are so funny, so I just don't write any of them because everything he says is just hilarious. But honestly, the funniest part of this entire scene to me was after this whole torture begins. Yennefer walks in, she's acting all hammered.
Yeah,
I was freaking dying, dude. It literally made me think of Family Guy.
Yeah.
It was like, I knew I'd find you here, you lazy lout. Left me at home to rot. And then just kisses him on the head and shit like that.
Yes.
I want that Yen more often.
Dude, that Yennefer and Yasker have such a good back and forth. Just, like how he eventually ends up calling her. He's like, oh, he's giving her a hug and stuff. He's like, he says something about like her having snakes in her feet, in her shoes or whatever. He says all these things to her. And that's a really good representation of how their back and forth is in the books. They're just like, he's always saying like, you're a fucking evil bitch. And she's like, fuck you. And they just go back and forth, but they help each other at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was pretty badass. She downs the liquor when Rience, pins her against the wall and just spits it in his face to give him the scar.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, giving him the scar is in line with the books. I can't believe they made Yen lose her powers. It's nuts.
She'll get him back, dude. Don't you worry.
I hope so. We'll see.
Next episode, maybe episode 7.
What do you guys think of that beautiful, beautiful lady of the night that we saw Yen talking to try to get information on if you saw?
Oh my god, lady of the night!
Like the
one who
harlot.
turns her into.
Yeah.
My
she was disgusting,
dude.
Well, I was looking. And it was the street, and it was all these ladies of the night, and I was like, they're all like 50.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, and they're all like 50. I was like, what the heck?
She says something like, "Oh, like if you want a twisted mermaid, that's gonna cost extra." And she's like, "My knees aren't as good as they always."
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my god. So yeah, she will come into play later, as you guys know. But yeah, Yen and Yaskir now are on the run. Yaskir's, like, dude, just use your magic again. Oh, wait, I forgot. You can't. You're useless now. And he's like, what the hell? You can't be the damsel in distress. I'm the damsel in distress.
Yeah. The amount of times that Yen's had people tell her since she's lost her magic to use her magic. And she's like, sorry, bro. It's And Yaskier is the only one who she ended up telling that she lost it, right? Because
Think so.
yeah.
Besides Tisea.
And Siri eventually, right?
Yeah. Siri at the very end of
Yeah.
6. Yeah.
So they actually get chased again by a different group. They get split up. Yaskier has a line. He's like, he's trying to be a distraction for Yen to get away. And he's like, many men have wanted to punch me in the face. Now's your chance. Come get some. And runs away. What a good guy. And then Yen actually gets caught by this wonderful, wonderful lady that betrayed her and actually called guards in. So Yen's all tied up. Yaskier ends up kind of finding her. He sees the guards talking about this lady that they're trying to turn in. And as he's looking through the window, she disappears because she starts chanting the Deathless Mother. I think we knew that was her name, but we get it again in the chant. She says, like Deathless Mother, hut, hut, and teleports.
Yeah, and then that just takes us back to the cabin, and then we finally get the exchange conversation. They're gonna have a trade where if she brings Siri to her, that's gonna help her. Then the witch is gonna restore her powers, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, but it's the Siri telling her that at one point, at like the witch being Siri, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, how they were all having their visions of people in different colored robes.
Yep.
She took on different visions, I guess, or different bodies and styles. So she just turned into Siri and was like,
basically to say, like, get me, like, this is who I look like, go get me.
Yeah, bring me this girl. Because the whole thing was Yen never actually agreed to a deal with the Deathless Mother. Like in the beginning, the other two did, Francesca and Fringilla did. And when Yen is tied up right here, she has a line where the whispers are coming in saying, like, the other two, they're doing way better than you. One has power and one has hope. Like, they're getting their wishes. You're still fucked. Why don't you come say the words and make a deal with me, and I'll tell you what to do. So she finally gives in. After not giving in when she had to behead Kahir way back, she would rather run away and be like a refugee than admit that she doesn't have powers. Yen is just such a complicated character.
So I have a question. I guess this could be a little bit more for Jimmy, but do we think was there a price already paid or will have to be paid by Fringilla and Francesca for getting what they want? Because it seems like Yennefer has to pay a price if she wants to get her wish.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the price is going to be something that has to do with their alliance being in line with what the Deathless Mother wants from her goals, maybe because they obviously are looking for Ciri too. Nilfgaard is. The fairies don't care, right? At this point, they don't have anything to do with Ciri. Or I'm sorry, Jesus. the elves. The fairies, you killed them all. That was cool. That was actually cool.
Awesome.
The elves don't care right now about Ciri, right? Only Nilfgaard does.
Yeah. Okay.
I
mean, they're the only ones actively going for it.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I could think of is that their alliance has something to do with what the Deathless Mother wants, and that's why it's not fully like a price.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really know. Because again, this character's made up, so it's total guesswork at this point.
Yeah. And the last thing she says to Yen as Ciri, they're in the hut, and she says, all you have to do is deliver me to the right lock. I'm the key. It is a shattered black door right outside Cintra. And speaking of that shattered black door, we get Istredd and Geralt. And what did you guys think of their interactions of Geralt coming in on the portal and Istredd like getting all standoffish? And Geralt's just like, dude, I need a breath. I don't like portals.
I need a second, man.
I think it was a good reaction. Like, that's how he should have acted. He's fucked with mages for so long. He knows. Like, he just instantly puts up his blocker, which was cool. Shows that he's pretty adept with magic. But I mean, if you see Geralt, like, you fucking kidding me? This dude with white hair, cat eyes, he's coming at you. He's huge as shit. I'm fucking putting up my wall too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just think that their back and forth in general is awesome, especially a little bit later when they talk about Yen. But yeah, I mean, he had the right reaction. by putting up the shield, and Geralt's just hilarious because he's just like, give me a second, man, give me a second. And he doesn't care. He's not afraid of any mages or anything. He's just like, I'm gonna take a seat for a second.
Kyle had a really good point where he was like, out of all the episodes we've seen of him, that was without a doubt the most vulnerable looking he's ever been.
I mean, it's true.
He did not have his wits about him. But
and he says he hates it too right before he does it.
Yeah, he's like, portals are no good, but he still does it. But Geralt comes and says, hey, you must be the mage. Trish sent me. She told me you are a monolith expert and I need your help. Why the hell is this monster coming out of a monolith? And he just drops it at his feet. That thing's nasty looking, and I would be pissed that he got its brains all over my clean floor. So they actually go looking for the monolith right outside of Cintra. I just loved the little line where Istrid's saying, "Are you always this talkative?" Or, should I take it personally? Because Geralt just like, it's weird. Geralt is either nonstop talking, like in the books, all he does is have conversations, or he's just like a statue and just head on and doesn't say a word.
If he's with his homies, he'll talk, but otherwise he's like, I'm gonna chill.
So we're right outside Cintra right now, is what you're saying, right? Right near the gap. And this is right as the Nilfgaardians are showing up. I think it's like 4 or 5 of them, and they fucked them up. And it was awesome to see Istrid using some battle magic too to actually help out and show he can hold some weight, because the whole Istrid thing is like he's in one of the short stories, I think, Jimmy, from the books. And that's it. Like he's just a one-off thing. And their whole thing is they fight over Yennefer, I think. Like they literally have like a lovers fight over like super early, and then he's never really talked about again. But I'm starting to like this character, especially in season 2. I was a little against him in season 1, obviously, because he kind of was
turned her in, man.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was fucking over Yennefer, but he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. He in the scene before in the library, he announces he's basically Team Elf. He doesn't care about Elfguard or Nilfgaard.
Elfguard.
That's what it is, right?
That's what they should call it now. Yeah.
Yes. So he's got a good head on his shoulders, and then in episode 6, he's like knowledge seeking. So I like what Istrid's got going on. He's a much better character than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, he's definitely a really good, interesting addition as well. Like you said, they didn't really have too much on him, but the way they integrated him into this story of the monoliths, keeping to his, researching, like archaeology, history, love, is really cool. And it's actually very helpful to have him to explain why all this is happening. But yeah, like you said, they got confronted by the guards, and Geralt is just sick of the shit, walks up and knocks him out. He's like, yeah, I know that. That's the easiest way. But then they do get to the giant monolith, and Istrid's reaction is insane. He's like, this is a historical revelation. Like the amount of energy to topple this thing. And meanwhile, Geralt's like, I don't see any tracks or bones or anything. Like, I need to go down there. And Istrid's like, count me in. I'm going down too.
This leads to like the biggest just info dump ever of like big picture shit.
Yeah.
And I actually really enjoy it. Like they start talking about the scars of the conjunction and like theorizing like what these monoliths actually were. And it turns out they're basically like the eels from Aretuza, where they're going to be the conduits that kind of, it's all theory, I guess, but they kind of cause the conjunction of the spheres. And in my head, and tell me if this is what you guys are thinking too, like is the conjunction of spheres basically just the mixture of like the multiverse of like 4 different worlds into this world, and that each world is basically like monsters are coming from here, dwarves from here, humans from here. That's pretty much what it was, right? And like the monoliths are acting as the conduits. It's a little confusing still, but that's pretty much where I'm at.
So yeah, in the books, I believe that it was just a conjunction of the spheres, and I think the show, Mr. just said right here, it's going their own way. So, the monsters didn't exist on this plane before the conjunction. So all species were separated on different spheres until all the spheres joined together. But that would require a massive surge of energy and conduits to channel it. So what if the monoliths weren't the points of impact? They were actually the conduits to channel it. And these spheres, they never merged, they collided and then separated again. So Geralt comes up and says, okay, so you're saying the original spheres are still out there somewhere, and our monoliths are calling to them, and then the monsters aren't new. They're
Right.
just new to our world here, and they're
Mhm.
using the monolith as gateways.
Right. Damn.
So
Dude.
this sounds like there was a mini conjunction where some of the worlds like perma collided, but there are still the original spheres out there, and the monoliths are being used as gateways.
All because our girl Siri.
Knocked it over
Mm-hmm.
because she screamed. It's insane. It's
Yeah.
a very cool take on it, I guess.
It's a super unique fantasy concept that I am not familiar with it. And that's why this is one of the things that separates the show from the books extremely. And I really, really like it. It seems like we're leaning into this because this is maybe the 5th time they've said the word conjunction this season. And it seems like that this is going to be the end game, I'm assuming, of the whole series.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like it has to be. It's
Mhm.
crazy to think that, there's other worlds out there and the series opening portals for them. That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So Istrid is like, okay, this is insane. How do you even know about this? Like, tell me how the monsters and the monoliths are linked. If you have information that can advance our civilization, I have the right to know. And I just thought that's insane. Just because that is like world breaking at that point. Like,
Yeah.
He's part of the Brotherhood, so having him be caught up is important.
Yeah, and he's a historian too. So
yeah.
And Geralt, this is where they have the awkward conversation. Geralt says, "Why should I tell you? So you can go help the elves? I know that's why you're not really here." And Istrid says, okay, if I'm honest, I came here to find a woman, Yennefer. Of Vengerberg? Yeah. You know Yenna? And he goes, Yen. Don't call her Yenna. He did Istrid called Yenna in episode 3. And she goes, don't call me that. Don't call me that.
Yenna. So
this is the awkward conversation. He goes, you know her? Yes, I did. Me too. You loved her. Loved. I never stopped loving. I thought after Sodden, after everything they did to her at Aretuza, she'd make her way here. And Geralt's like, wait, after Sodden, Yen's alive?
Mm-hmm.
Finally he
finds out. Yep.
Yeah.
If you're hoping for more of a reaction from him, he's a Witcher, so he's probably not going to give it to you.
And he gave her a pretty good reaction when they actually did meet.
Yeah.
I liked it. I will talk about that soon, but that gets broken up by, I think, it goes away but comes back eventually, and then we have the new monster. Paul, do you have the name of him? Because I know he gets name dropped in episode 6.
Chernobog.
Yeah, he pops out and he looks awesome. And you said this on episode 3, dude. You could see how much money they spent on the monsters. Like how I think you did a perfect job of explaining the reasoning behind when the Leshy that killed Eskel popped up. Like they said, fuck him. We already spent the money on that. Let's bring in this new guy. And every single monster has looked so good so far.
It is great. This one was really cool. It kind of, we don't see it get formed, but we do hear Ciri scream in a different scene. She yells for Geralt. Geralt actually hears this in the trench. Istrid does as well. And then we see fragments of the stellacite from the monolith just start flying. And all of a sudden we see, it looks like the stellacite was like its wings and its back as well. Mm-hmm. This dragon looking thing just come in, fly off. And it just looks great, especially when we get him next episode, just kind of flying around. Like we get his view as well. I love how they are leaning into the monsters more than maybe the books did.
And we could pick back up at the end of that once we go through the Ciri part. But I think another takeaway is that Istrid's going to go back and study the royal line of Cintra, right? But I think that's because of the whole, like, doesn't Ciri's voice pop up here because of Ciri's storyline?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
While she's going through her vision.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense to talk about yet. So I think we put a pin in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we can jump over to Ciri. Do you want to do Cahir and Frigilla real quick?
Yeah, that's fine.
The first actual scene we get of Cahir is he's having nightmares on a boat. And this is the boat that he was supposed to be on with Yen. Yen obviously didn't go. It's full of elves and it's going to Cintra. He is having a nightmare of the monolith falling, in front of him, separating him from Ciri. So, it's all connected. But when he does go onto the deck, he does see they get to Cintra. And, Fringilla. We get Fringilla looking out the window, seeing the boat come in. Her Frin and Fran, as I like to call them, they go down to meet him at the gate.
She looks pregnant as fuck.
Dude, gonna pop any day. They
Wait,
also talk about how
they got the Sintra?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Sintra or Zintria.
Yeah, okay, so it's their new name, right?
Which is the Elvish pronunciation of it. They're talking about how they were getting less and less elf arrivals each day, though, because they are kind of being hunted by the North now. So they go down to meet the ship, and of course, Cahir is just being a piece of shit, trying to cut the line. It's like, bro, you went through all this, and now you're gonna be a douche again. Like, just wait in line, like tell him your name, and then go up and see Fringilla. But of course, he had to make a scene. He actually had the cool I am Commander Mar Different App Kaliach. Who the fuck are you? How was that pronunciation? Was that good?
That was good, really dude.
Good.
And then Fringilla, oh, Cahir, you're not dead. That's cool. Good to see you. Welcome back. So he is officially back with Fringilla. We also real quick got Dara. Dara was in the line.
Yeah.
So last time we saw him, King Vizimir and Dijkstra were sending him to be a spy.
Mm-hmm.
And why did they have him in the first place? Because they had him in a cell, right?
Yeah, we didn't see it, but we assume he was just an elf that got wrangled up when the North started to imprison him.
Didn't he get separated from Ciri in the Brokilon Forest back?
Mm-hmm.
So
season 1,
they were in the Brokilon Forest, and then the doppelganger that was pretending to be Malsac came.
Yep.
And then they left Brokilon Forest, and after that incident, Dara was like, "Everywhere you go, like you cause death. Like I'm done following you." And then they separated.
Okay.
Really should have stayed with her because she's fine and he is now in a prison. Well, was in a prison.
I don't have much more to say just about the Cahir and Dara storyline. It's way more important than the next episode, but whatever else you guys have to say here.
No, that was just their reunion coming back together.
Mm-hmm.
But that does have a big impact going forward, like you said.
Right, it does. Yep.
Just while we're here too, Jimmy, what is your opinion about Cahir as a character so far through these 6 episodes in season 2?
Okay, so we're talking about the Black Knight here?
Yes.
Okay, so I like that they are keeping him like not okay. So obviously he was the villain in season 1, and he breaks out with Yen. And a lot of times that's usually where they give like let's have a nice little turn, a comeback story and make him a good guy or something. You know, he has like an okay relationship with Yen, but I like that even though we went through that whole thing, I guess he's kind of nice to Yen, but he's still a douche. You know, he's still a bad dude. He's, I guess he's sympathetic right now with the elves, but he wants to take back control.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he's still going to stay villainous.
So the only thing I'll say on it is that Cahir, I'm a super victim of like his character in the books this is one of the plot points I think they're going to keep like his end game from the books. So I know they're going to go from where we are now to like point A to point B, his end game. And I just don't like it.
Okay.
Like, I don't think they're going to get there in a way that's going to satisfy me. So it's causing me to be like anti Cahir, and I think I currently still am anti Cahir, even though I heard his actor's just like one of the coolest dudes ever. Everyone on set loves him. He's the freaking man. He's a good actor and all that. It's just the decisions they make. I just feel like he's just full. I won't say much. All I'll say is right now I'm waiting to really give my judgment on him until I guess after the season. But
so
not my favorite character.
I was having the exact same feelings you were, Luke, and I think you will feel a bit better at the end of the season. That's all I'm going to say.
Good to hear.
I love Cahir's character.
So wait, are you caught up?
He's so complicated. You me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you've watched everything?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you can't give any theories. It's just me and Luke. All right.
Nah, you don't want to hear my theories.
After we recorded episode 2, he watched the next 6.
I hope you didn't have any
Sorry.
freaking money theories in episodes 3 and 4 then, dude.
I was watching this whole time and I was like, what the fuck is happening? I have no idea. This is its own story.
I mean, I really liked how we're gonna get to it. You know, when Siri has her soul, what is it? The soul quest, vision quest deal, whatever it is that Triss puts her in. Don't laugh, bro. Don't laugh.
Vision Quest. Wait, what was it
Well,
called?
we're talking Winona Earp now when we say Vision Quest, but
True. Okay.
Or Blue Mountain State.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And Family Guy and a lot of things. But...
All right, let's jump into this storyline.
Okay, then I'll talk about that then.
Yeah, so we have Siri, Triss, and Vesemir. You can throw him in here. And Siri, the first shot we get of her is she's training on the pendulum again. What do you guys think of her and that whole training sequence?
Love it.
I think it's great. Just subtle character development for her Witcher skills, because you don't know how much time passed, and you got to assume a decent amount based on some random quotes that happen throughout here.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I am very, very, very blind when it comes to anything that's going to happen with this show. Like I said, I've only read a little bit of the books, and Siri wasn't even involved. So I have no idea where she's going, but I loved how in the promos for this season, it's showing her with the swords and ready to fight and being a badass. And as soon as she said, like, I want to train, I was like, all right. And what I was going to say, the typical character, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying typical, but the typical badass female character that is like a child, but she's going to freaking turn into this major badass, and she wants to train with Geralt and the rest of the Witchers. And honestly, to your point, Luke, with the other Witchers not being great, the only thing that they are good at is these training scenes with her, even though they're being assholes. It's like it's more so like you're one of us. You're gonna take our jests while we tell you you're weak. You know, so keep going. And then they're all impressed when she actually goes through the training sequences and everything. But yeah, I loved all the training sequences. And to flash forward for a second, we're gonna get there, but I had no idea like if it was gonna go through with the whole turn her into a Witcher thing. I didn't think so, but I'm just blind when it comes to Siri. I have no idea really what's coming next for her.
To me, Siri just seems like Arya Stark if she was the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly.
Like of her story. And Arya Stark was my favorite Game of Thrones character.
Hell
That's why these little moments showing her train and get better and become more of a savage, like they're so good for me. And that's why I think it was episode 3 is when she really started training, was so awesome.
And her actor, Freya Allen, has been absolutely killing it this season. I love her. I think when I think of Siri, I picture her now.
Yep. Yeah, she's killing it. Now, in the books, how old is she actually supposed to be? Because I know that they're calling her like child and stuff in the show, and she's 20 in real life. But is she supposed to be like how Game of Thrones is, and she's supposed to be like a kid in the books, like a kid, or?
I think
more time passes, so it's hard to.
Yeah. I was gonna say when Geralt and Ciri first meet, I think she's like 13, like 14. But I mean, when she's at like training Kaer Morhen and stuff like that, I think she gets up to like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it is working out well. Like Luke, you said this before. At what age they did get Freya Allen, she did look a little bit younger, and she is kind of aging up as the seasons go on.
They definitely
she looked Maisie Williams. Exactly.
Yeah, she definitely looked way younger in season 1.
Yeah. Apparently, it was the eyebrows. I didn't know that, but they dyed her eyebrows
brown.
Really? Emily pointed it out. That's the only reason. And I was like, of course, I would have never seen that in a million years.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously didn't cover season 1 on the pod, but I'm just saying this now because it would have been noticed in season 1, but I just love the contact lenses for the different characters with different eye colors and stuff.
All of them. Vesemir, Ciri, Geralt, Yennefer.
I mean, Jens just does it for me with the purple. Yeah.
That's what Daenerys should have been wearing. Exactly those.
Wasn't it Danny that said Emilia Clarke was supposed to and she can't do contacts or something?
100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Weak.
Geralt or Henry almost went blind, and Daenerys is freaking out. Whatever.
Yeah.
So this whole few beginning scenes of this trio that we get is Vesemir talking to Triss, bringing you up the Elder Blood again. You know, he just discovered Ciri. You know, wherever she spills her blood, this Faneweed is blooming. Mm-hmm. Therefore, she must have Elder Blood in her, and that is a key ingredient to creating more Witchers. So they're kind of having this moral dilemma. Should we go through with it? Should we not? Vesemir actually gets Ciri and brings her kind of to a little history museum and saying, when the conjunction happened, all spheres of beasts collided, mages weaponized monsters and tried to conquer the lands with them. Fucking idiots. The monsters destroyed everything. And then 300 years ago, mages weaponized man, mutated them with elixirs, made them faster, stronger, brutal enough to kill the beasts. Witchers saved humanity from extinction. But do you know why there are fewer and fewer of us? Because we can't make more Witchers. Tells her about Faneweed and what it is. And then Ciri actually puts it together by herself. Oh, shit. I have elder blood, but my grandmother hated elves. And Vesemir's like, hey, sometimes what we hate most is something we can't change about ourselves.
Right.
And that was part of the conversation, like at the very beginning of that stuff, is when Vesemir has that like tiny line that says he and all the Witchers are impressed with their growth, and that implies time passage.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. That was nice. She comes in and after training hard, and Vesemir's like, hey, I thought you were going to be like a snot-nosed brat of a princess. And you are.
And you are.
But you also are impressing us out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's nice. This is the Kaer Morhen that I wanted Ciri to have from the beginning. She has very fond memories of the place and she feels like a family.
Yeah. Because the other Witchers aren't in the scenes. But
exactly.
that leads Vesemir to eventually telling Ciri, I don't know if it's Vesemir or Triss, but that, she is down to help create more Witchers on the one condition that they tested on her first.
Yeah.
And I was like shocked that was like how the dialogue went, and I was all fucking about it. I wanted them to give her the stuff so freaking badly. And initially Vesemir like chimes back saying like, no, I can't do it. You're basically Geralt's child. Like, he'll kill me. But then she walks away from the scene saying like, I'm freaking doing it.
Yeah. And he says, I had 1 million kids, boys here, and not many of them made it. This is where pain exists and people die, and I can't let you die. You're Geralt's daughter.
Ciri has a nice line at the end of this when she's saying, come on, please, I'm meant for this. She says, all of those boys' suffering would have been for nothing when you guys die out. So, like, come on. And she's getting in Vesemir's head a little bit. Eventually, we get a scene of just her filling up a vial of her blood. They just kind of agree to it. Triss is on board. Let's not ask Geralt, her guardian, her dad. It's okay.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, if I was Geralt, I would have been way more pissed at Vesemir that he was letting this happen without Geralt being involved. But
absolutely, absolutely. We see them do the potion. Triss actually, does a little bit of concocting with some leaves and some ingredients. We find out it works. We see them like pouring the blood in there too. There's a lot of blood. And Ciri's like, okay, just give me 1 second to get ready. So Trish is like, get ready for what?
Trish has no idea.
Oh yeah, by the way, she wants to be the first one. This leads to the whole vision quest that you were talking about.
Gives him a couple shrooms and
it's actually called
Go to Mars, dude.
Let's go to Mars, dude. Is that when they're trying to eat the pig? It's Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
and
totally
Peter.
Eat that pig, man.
Dude. So the vision quest that you're talking about is called Dal Duza or something like that. That's what Triss says. Valley of the Soul. Doesn't matter. They go in, and basically what happens is they enter the deepest layer of Ciri's unconsciousness. And by doing this, they can find things that may have been hidden, can find genetic memories that tell the story of who you really are. So, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous. It just requires us to trust each other.
So it's super dangerous. And someone's
right.
Super dangerous.
Something bad's going to happen.
Well, I guess it's only because of Pavetta, right? Like is that the only reason it was dangerous? Because of how much of a power source she was and
Well, I'm ready to talk, but I feel like if I say what I think, then it's going to be talking about episode 6. So I don't know if we should talk about that in episode 6 talk, or if I should just bring it up now, even though we have the preface that we might be spoiling some stuff for people anyway.
All right. I mean, do you have it written down to bring up at the end of episode 6 if we don't naturally get to it?
Yeah, because we're going to talk about it in a scene.
Okay.
so it'll bring up my
All
theory.
right, let's keep
Okay.
going then, because not, this is just trippy shit, like straight out of Wheel of Time, honestly. I wish Kyle.
Yeah.
That's a shout out to Kyle if you ever listen to this.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. They are seeing kind of everybody that she has cared about in her past. She sees, Dara, Calanthe. She actually ends up seeing Kahir too. And Triss tells her, "Oh, don't worry, nothing can hurt you here. All of this is, just you." And then she ends up seeing Pavetta, her mother, as you were saying, who actually speaks to Ciri.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when Triss is like, "Wait, you can see us? Like, that's not how this is supposed to work at all."
Right.
And then everybody in her subconscious like starts looking at her, and Trish is like, "This isn't how it's supposed to go at all."
Yeah, when I was gonna say, when we were talking about the Black Knight and you're asking my opinion of him, I just took it from this vision quest that him being like the complete enemy to Ciri, and him doing the shaky thing that happens to only the certain people that are part of the vision quest that really matter. I just think that he's straight villain. Like it's telling you that. Like if she's our girl, then he's going to be the villain, one of the big villains.
Okay.
We see Ciri's father, Dooney, and mother Pavetta holding a baby Cirilla. This is the night that they die because they talk about getting on a boat and fleeing. And when Ciri vocalizes that, Pavetta snaps her head and looks up again. There was a little crackle in the fire behind it, and little ashes went up. I like that little effect. Thought I'd point that out. And Trish is like, "All right, we need to go because this is insane that everything is happening." They end up following a bright light, a very ominous voice. They just follow it. I don't know why, but they do. And they end up seeing a bloody elf holding a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like everything around her is just completely ravaged.
Yep.
And you guys catch what she was saying and what Ciri said?
I know she drops the name of book 2 in this part where she says Time of Contempt. And if for anyone listening that's read the books, when I say book 2, I mean the second book in the plot lines here. I've been saying the book numbers wrong, I guess, technically, because the prequel books are technically book 1 and 2, and I don't count them. I count Elder Blood as book 1 and Time of Contempt as book 2. So like this is kind of book 2 stuff here where we're getting prophetic prophecies for lack of a better word. Just talking about like what's gonna happen, and then you also see the wild hunt in the sky happening, like all this chaos and destruction's going on. It seems like kind of Armageddon. And I think she while this is going on, isn't the elf holding Triss by her fucking neck right there?
Eyes rolling.
Yeah.
First of all, what the fuck was Triss doing? Trying to heal somebody in her self-conscious.
Triss is literally the one who said they're not real, they can't hurt you, they don't mean anything, and then she goes to help heal the elf. And is that Huey or Peaches?
That's Huey. Peaches is like peach colored.
Oh, really? I guess that makes sense then. Yeah, so yeah, it was just weird that she goes after her. And I knew that as soon as she went near her, because every other big part, the person, whether it's the mom or the grandmom or whatever, looks over at Ciri and she's saying, Trish is saying this isn't how it's supposed to be. I knew the elf was going to do something crazy. Mm-hmm. She grabs her by the throat, eyes are rolling. Obviously, Ciri's eyes are starting to roll too while the prophecy's being said. So it was some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Child of elder blood, child of wrath, the time of contempt is nigh. The world will die amongst frost and will be reborn of elder blood, of the seed that has been sown, a seed that will not sprout or burst into flame.
Just going to drop 2 book titles right in that quote. Jesus.
Yeah. They're just, what the hell does that mean? Like hearing that for the first time. Jimmy, what did you take away from that?
Well, what I can say is that I took away the next scene where they come out of the vision quest and Triss just loses her shit, man. Yeah. And obviously there's like 2 sides to this in my head. My one viewpoint was like, Triss, you're supposed to be like her girl. You put her through this. You see what you see. I get it. It looks like a prophecy and it looks real, but I feel like you should more so be trying to comfort Ciri and see if there's anything you can do about it than freaking out and telling her, you are going to destroy the entire world. You would think Ciri would freak out more than Triss did, but Ciri kind of just got up and walked away from it. Yeah, I know that mages are big on, and obviously the Witcher world are big on like the prophecies and believing that kind of stuff. But I thought Triss's ridiculous reaction was, a little bit much when you're doing it right towards Ciri. I mean, you can hold it in and go talk to Vesemir about it or something. Don't throw it all at this little girl.
Like she does at the end of episode 6, right?
Yeah, like don't throw it at this freaking little girl, and say, you're a piece of shit, basically. Like,
I totally agree.
Sloppy. Yeah.
I hated Trish's reaction written in big bold letters because like she starts screaming at her saying, "You're going to destroy us all. It's your fault." Ciri's like, "What did I do? I didn't do anything." So yeah, she runs out. She goes right to Vesemir. She's like, "I want it done right now." It's like 6 needles. I did not know that it was going to be like 6 separate needles.
I saw that and I was like, what the hell? Where are those needles going?
Yeah, seriously. Only so many can go into straight into your
certain veins. Yeah,
I thought they were doing it. I thought it was happening. I was like, I know this doesn't happen in the books, but let's fucking go. I wanted this changed so badly. And then, of course, Geralt shows up at the last second.
Yeah, and that's that's going on through where Geralt and Istrid are, just seeing the Geralt, because when shit's starting to hit the fan
in the vision, when shit's starting to hit the fan in the vision, Ciri starts yelling for Geralt, and that's and then he can hear it through, what's going on in the monolith, and then he goes to Istrid, says, "We need a portal right now." And then that's when he
shows back up to Ciri
before she gets poked by Vesemir.
And that's where Istrid's pretty much like, who's yelling your name and who is this chick? I need to know. I need some answers here, man.
And he's like,
"No, nope. Rational."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do it too. To be honest, I thought they did actually give Ciri the potion in the books, and that it like made her have a crazy reaction. I could be mixing it up with something else, but I swear I thought she actually did go through Child of the Grasses. And
you might be right. Honestly, I just didn't remember her. She doesn't get through the full transformation and shit, right? Like she doesn't have like night vision.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, somebody leave a comment and correct us because I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked how Geralt had the line, Ciri saying, "I want to protect myself. I want to be like you. Indifferent to the past, to the lies, to the things I've done." Geralt, Henry Cavill, dreamy eyes McGee. So nice. That is not how it works. Neither you nor I can just forget who we are. We can't kill our feelings. Our best chance is to kill the hatred that we may hold on to and move on. And as he says this, the camera shoots to Vesemir real quick, and it looks like he took it pretty hard as well.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of hatred.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it the Witcher training that makes them able to like not to like control their feelings and not feel feelings and only do what they need to do? Or is it actually the potion that removes quote unquote their feelings? Like, because Ciri's saying like, I want to get rid of my past. I want to stop caring about it. It's like, I mean, if you really want to, let's put you through that Witcher training. It's not the potion that does that, unless I'm wrong.
It's kind of a combination of everything, I would say.
Yeah.
Don't some of the trials, like they give them the potion, then make them do something, and like that's part of the trial, so it's kind of a combination of both. I don't really remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up. I know I haven't, but there are a few different trials, and one of them's the grasses, and that's the one that like change your eyes. But there's another one that would change, like is the ability to give you all the reflexes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get that into it in the books, and honestly, the Nightmare of the Wolf prequel animated series does even a little bit more than the books do in terms of explicitly showing you the trials. But they don't show everything either. It's kind of like a Mystique thing going on.
I'm wondering if Blood Origin will show us if it's going to be the first Witchers.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So for this Witcher universe, because I can't speak for the books in certainty, but for this universe, we have the trial of the grasses, which is the potion of various alchemical ingredients, which affects their nervous system, aka their enhanced reflexes. And then we have the Trial of Dreams, which is, they'll give the mutation of the eyes and the bone marrow and the hormones, and that's what makes them, infertile. And then you have the Trial of the Mountains, which is, the trail that we see them running through. But yeah, Vesemir looked like he really took that to heart, and Geralt just does the rest of Ciri's straps and lets her go, and looks at Vesemir with a "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" look, and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. I mean, we got Istrid kind of going to his library, see that he was pulling out the Cintran line. I think we might have already said that. Apologizes to King Rognir. That's just a cool Cintran king bringing up. But yeah, that was pretty much it for episode 5. That's going to do it for us. If you guys like what you heard, our podcast also covers Wheel of Time, Dexter, Midnight Mass, Rick and Morty, all different kinds of shows. But most importantly, a lot of good stuff. If you want to toss a coin to your Bingetown, we have a Patreon up where you can become a Bingetown homie. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, or the easiest way to do all that is check us out on our website, bingetowntv.com. We're so excited to cover The Witcher, and we're so happy to have you here along with us. So from everyone at Bingetown, thank you so much for listening.
Boom.